Dean Withers is wildin'. So for those who aren't aware of who Dean Withers is, he's a young debate bro in the debate sphere. He's come out and said he was influenced by men like Destiny and Hassan Piker who are big in the debate and political spheres. Dean has made a name for himself and even had his own 1 versus 20 Jubilee feature, where he single-handedly debated 20 conservatives as a liberal. Dean's name has been becoming more prominent in the debate sphere with people like Destiny referencing and associating with him. But Dean has come under fire lately for a couple of reasons. One having to do with an event that went south when a scandal involving the event organizer took place, and now with this footage of Dean encouraging people to try to get a man's children taken away from him after a debate, calling for people to look this man up, find out who he is, and report him. YouTubers ABA and Preach recently reacted to this video, and they were so on point that I thought I'd share bits of their commentary while including my own. Their full video will be linked in the description below, so check it out.
A debate, this guy's like some kind of TikTok debater.
If I was dumb enough to send my kid in, it's no different than a baby commercial for diapers.
Can you answer my question? Do you think that you have the right to consent to 65-year-old men looking at your son while he's naked?
So I'm going to break this down for context and clarification. Evidently, Dean and this man were debating about Trump showing up in a beauty pageant locker room. You can hear the man say in the beginning that he wouldn't be dumb enough to send his child to a pageant, because he clarifies later he doesn't think they're good for kids. So the guy is essentially saying that the parents of these teens at the pageant were dumb to even have their kids in a situation like this in the first place, and says he would be dumb if he did the same. Now let's continue.
I wouldn't allow it.
So Dean asks a question, and the man immediately responds by saying that he would not allow his child to be in a situation like that. Remember, the guy referred to parents who did allow their children to be in situations like that dumb.
Do you think that you have the right? Do you think that you have the right to allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating the consent of your child?
Now listen to what both men are saying here. Dean is asking if the parent thinks that as a parent, he has the right to put his child in that situation. The guy, on the other hand, is clearly stating, while being talked over by Dean, that his responsibility as a parent is to keep his child safe, which is again why he said he wouldn't allow his child to be in an unsafe situation and referred to the parents who did as dumb, which for some reason Dean seems to not be acknowledging and is completely missing.
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision as the parent, and I wouldn't put my kid in that situation. That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place. I would never...
Now this guy is clearly stating that children have to rely on their parents to protect them, which is why he called the other parents dumb and said that he personally would never have his child in a situation like that. For some reason, Dean seems to misunderstand him, and in a minute you'll see him respond in an irrational way to what this parent just said. As a commenter so eloquently stated, quote, "The person he was debating answered the question the correct way. Legally, children can't consent to what he stipulated in his hypothetical, and it is the parent's responsibility to ensure the hypothetical situation doesn't happen." End quote. The guy was clearly from off the jump saying that it is a parent's responsibility to protect their children because their children are vulnerable and can't make those kind of decisions, which is why parents need to protect them. It seems pretty obvious to follow, but let's see what happens.
So he ends the call there. That ends the debate, I guess, with this guy.
Yeah, but he overreacted, I think.
Keep watching.
Preach is right. Dean definitely overreacted and seems to be having a different conversation than the caller is. Dean is acting as if the caller is saying something that he isn't, when the caller has made it clear that it's a parent's responsibility to ensure their children are safe and not put in unsafe situations.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I think that you don't deserve to have any custodial rights over your child.
Dean then announces that he has decided that this parent is not fit to be a parent. So he announces his plan to ensure that this man loses his child. Again, for nothing other than the man stating that it's a parent's job to protect their child and keep them out of situations like the one Dean was describing.
So, for those watching, their handle is 6. It's going to be their handle. If there happens to be anybody in here that...
Dean then proceeds to out the man's social media handle to incite people to head over to him. I muted the handle for obvious reasons.
It's good. It has like facial recognition software.
You can find it. It's fine. Nothing I said was wrong.
Dean then steers his audience toward finding out information about this man for the sole purpose of taking his child away, now announcing that this man is a threat to his own kid, even though he knows nothing about him. And the only thing the man said was that it's a parent's responsibility to protect their child.
Okay,
I just said that the kid doesn't get to make the decision.
What's your name?
I would never put them in that situation.
Okay, what's your name?
Again, this guy is clarifying that it's a parent's responsibility to keep their child out of unsafe situations. Yet, Dean doesn't seem to be hearing that, and instead zones in on trying to get the man's name so that he can report him.
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you would like to try to do that.
Dean announces that he wants this man's child taken away from him. And that's what he's encouraging his audience to do. Again, in spite of the fact that this man simply said it's a parent's responsibility to keep their children safe. Somehow that's reportable.
Yes, I would. So
they would never even do it. That's the best part.
Okay.
Because I would take the part, and I have a witness sitting here who's heard me say I would never put my child in that situation.
Okay. So
we all heard him say that same exact thing. That he wouldn't put his child in an unsafe situation, that he believes it's a parent's duty to keep their child safe.
So what's your name?
So don't worry, move the goalpost too, by the way.
So you said that you think that parents have every right to exploit and their children.
That's not what he said.
That's not what I said.
That's not what he said.
That definitely is not what he said, and seems to be the exact opposite of what he said. For some reason, Dean keeps harping on the idea that this guy just said he can do whatever he wants with his kid, when all the guy was saying was that it's a parent's job to keep their kids away from unsafe situations and environments, because children rely on their parents to protect them, which is why he referred to the parents of the pageants that Trump walked in on as dumb.
That's why I'm saying he's overreacting, dude. It's not even him talking, it's his triggers.
No, that's not what I said.
So I'm not going to debate it with you. That is what you said.
Again, that is not in fact what the man said. At all. And Preach is right. Dean wasn't listening with open ears. He was listening with a preconceived notion, and has now convinced himself that the man is guilty of whatever Dean thought he was guilty of, which he isn't. The man never said what Dean is accusing him of. Not even close. Dean is on purpose misrepresenting the situation.
So I just putting this out there for anybody. Feel free to take his profile picture. Maybe you could go on TikTok.com/his handle. You could save his profile picture, run it through some reverse image search. Maybe it will link back to a Facebook or something where you could find his name.
Again, Dean encourages his audience to look this man up and find out information about him to use against him, with the goal to take his child away from him, because Dean believes he said something that he didn't. And now, he wants to punish the guy for this crime he believes he has committed in his mind.
And if you do find said information, that's public, by the way.
You're more than welcome to.
Feel free to take that information and report it to CPS. Feel free to take that information and report it to the law authorities in this area.
Again, Dean is encouraging overstepping this line to his entire audience because he thinks a guy said something he didn't and won't hear otherwise. And he tries to make it sound like it's legal because it's quote-unquote public information. But it begs the question why he doesn't do it himself then. Why is he using his audience as an essential attack dog? Why is he putting them in danger of false reporting and not himself?
Feel free to take that information and report it to maybe his local CPS, etc., Child Protective Care, Child Protective Services. Feel free to do that. I'll go ahead and leave him on the live for around another 20 or 30 seconds here before we kick him, just so you guys...
Yo.
Dean wants his viewers to do his dirty work. Dean wants his viewers to track this guy down and punish him for a crime he didn't even commit, and won't even listen to the guy as he tries to explain how Dean is misunderstanding and misrepresenting the situation. Dean believes he's right, so he won't hear anything else about it.
You know what? You know what's crazy? Sometimes you talk with people and then you're like, yo, that's not what I said. The problem is really that they are listening with their triggers. They're not listening with what you're saying.
And again, Preach is 100% right here. Dean was not listening to what this man was saying. Dean was listening to what he thought this man was saying. He listened to the preconceived version of this guy in his head and went with that narrative. The guy never said anything that Dean is accusing him of saying. And Dean overreacted and took things too far.
And then they just go off. And you're like, this dude was like, I never said that. And he never said that. He actually said, I will never put my child in that situation. And then boom, it doesn't matter what you said anymore. It's how you felt.
Again, Preach is right. It doesn't matter what the guy said. It only matters what Dean thought he said. What Dean wanted him to say. Because Dean wanted to be right. He wasn't listening. He was only interested in shutting down the debate and winning it. I think the guy was crystal clear in what he said. I think we all heard it. He never once said what Dean accused him of saying.
And this guy goes 10 toes into his, oh, well, let's dox. That's two things. One thing is the fact that this guy literally listened with his triggers. That's one thing. But after that, you're like, we're doxing you. Or we're taking your child, your kids away. And this guy that's doing all this thing thinks he's doing a good job. He's the good guy in this story. In his head, he's the good guy. So
this is also true. Dean seems to believe that he's the good guy in this story, carrying out justice and making sure all is right with the world. But he's not even listening to what's happening. He's not even present in the situation and is being reckless and dangerous.
He has the right to do that. Let's do justice by me. But you're wrong. You're not even listening, my guy. You didn't go back and say, but what do you mean? Let me paraphrase what you said. You didn't verify. You went, oh, you said that. Okay, let's dox him. Oh my God, jail.
This is also true. In fact, Dean specifically asked the guy if he was saying a certain thing, and the guy clarified that no, he wasn't. He was saying the opposite. Yet Dean then said, I'm not going to debate this, I know what you said. As if he knew what the guy said better than the guy who said it. And quite honestly, I'm not sure how Dean heard what he heard. The guy was very clear in his statements about believing that parents are responsible for ensuring their children's safety. And he stated about 5 times how he himself would never have his child in an unsafe situation. So again, how Dean came to the conclusion that he did is mind-blowing. And the majority of the internet seems to agree that Dean has taken things a step too far. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.